Hello everyone, I'm Robin, and in this video we are going to talk about 6 vocabulary to use when you're leaving your job, okay? Some are common, some are not so common, but they're all useful. Let's take a look at the first two: quit and give notice, okay? Now, quit is the most common word or expression we want to use when leaving a job. You can say, I quit. Now, usually I quit means suddenly, like today, but it can be used to talk about the future, like I will quit next month, I will quit next year. And remember, if you use it in past tense, don't say quitted. You have to say, I quit my job last month. Okay, just use quit for past tense. All right, let's take a look at our example. This job is terrible. I quit. Okay, this job is terrible. I quit. This person is not happy with their job. He says, I quit. Maybe he says that to his boss. So, in this sense, he's probably quitting today. He's at his job. He says, I quit. He probably goes home. Okay, he no longer does his job. The second one, give notice. Okay, give notice. When you give notice, this is more formal, more professional, and the polite way to quit. So in our sentence, today I gave my boss 2 weeks notice. Okay, so how long do you want to continue working at your job? 2 weeks notice. Some jobs you probably want to give 1 month notice, but anyway, he gives to his boss. Sometimes it's a paper, sometimes it's just verbally speaking, but you should give notice. That's the best way, the most polite way, the professional way to quit, to give notice. All right, let's take a look at the next two. The first two vocabulary were about you wanting to leave a job. The next two, maybe you don't want to leave your job, but you have to. The words are fired and laid off. Let's take a look at fired first. Now, fired, very negative, a very bad thing to hear if your boss tells you you're fired, okay? Now, if you're fired, you're probably doing something wrong. You're a bad worker or something. And again, fired is quick. It's very quick. If your boss says you're fired, probably you should leave that job today. So go clean off your desk and go home. Get out. So your boss might say this: you're a terrible worker. You're a terrible worker. You're fired. You're fired. Again, go home. Get out. The next one, laid off. Now, laid off is not your fault. This is probably your fault. But laid off is probably the company fault, okay? The company has some financial problem, money problem, or there's not enough work for all the employees, okay? So when the company has a problem, they might have to lay off some employees. Let's take a look at the example. Company sales are down. Company sales are down. I was laid off. Okay, so probably this company has some money problems. And of course, large companies, when they lay off workers, they lay off thousands of workers. So you can see that in the newspaper. They will lay off like 3,000 workers or 5,000 workers because the company has a lot of problems. All right. In some cases, you might be rehired when the company has better conditions. Okay. So the company sales are down, you're laid off. Sales start to go up again, they will rehire some workers. But usually they don't rehire the old workers, they just hire new, younger, and cheaper workers. Anyway, both are bad. If you're fired or laid off, you probably don't want that. All right, let's look at the next two examples. Here are the last two vocabulary: resign and retire. Let's look at resign. Resign. Be careful with the pronunciation. It's resign, resign. It's a verb, to resign. All right. Now, we already learned you can leave the company by quitting or give notice. And the last one here is to resign. Now, to resign is usually used with upper management, executives, CEOs, even politicians. They resign from a company. Now, resign can be positive or negative. So, resign, if I'm a CEO and I want to resign from a company, all right, so probably I have another job at another company or I'm planning to retire. So, I officially quit the company, I resign. It can also be negative, especially for politicians. They have some public scandal or something and they have to resign. They have to quit. Okay? Let's take a look at my example. He had to resign because of a scandal. Okay? So he's a very important person and he has to quit his job. But we don't say quit for the very important person. We say resign. Okay? And he had some scandal. He had to resign. The last one, retire. Okay, so you worked hard and it's time to stop working forever. You have to retire. So, my example, after 35 years of work, long time, it's time to retire. Okay, so I'm going to retire from my company. Of course, this is a good thing, this is a positive thing. There can be early retirement. Okay, some companies have early retirement. They might give you some extra money to retire early. In some cases, it's voluntary, means you want to early retire. And in other cases, they make you early retire. Okay, but usually just retiring, that's a good thing. You worked hard, time to retire. All right, let's look at some example sentences. All right, let's look at the examples. Number one, I quit my job today. My boss was terrible. I quit my job today. My boss was terrible. Okay, let's look at the next one. I will move to another city. I will give 2 weeks notice to my company. I will move to another city. I will give 2 weeks notice to my company. Next example. He got fired from his job because he was stealing money. He got fired from his job because he was stealing money. The next example. The company had to lay off 1,000 employees because of low sales. The company had to lay off 1,000 employees because of low sales. All right, the next example. He resigned from the CEO position due to low sales. He resigned from the CEO position due to low sales. And the last example. I will retire at age 65. I will retire at age 65. Okay, I hope those examples helped you. Let's do a quick review of the 6 vocabulary. The first one, quit. I quit. Okay, you don't like your job anymore and you're going to quit. Probably very quickly, like today, I quit. The next one, give notice. A little more professional and nice. You tell your boss or you write a letter to your boss and you give it to him. I'm going to give notice that I'm quitting 1 month later. All right. You're fired. Very bad. You're a bad worker maybe, and your boss says you're fired. Okay, so get out now. Get out today. Laid off. Company problems. Not your fault. Sorry, but we have to lay you off. Okay, you're fired, but it's not your fault. Resign. Again, for kind of upper management and very important workers, they don't say I quit. They say I resign. And the last one, retire. Of course, you work many, many years and you don't want to work anymore. You retire. All right. So I hope you have a very good understanding of these 6 vocabularies. And that's it. See you next time.